Isle of Discovery is back in business again. My Planet Coaster 2 custom dream theme park with so many different rides and roller coasters. And in the last episode, 2 weeks ago, I started building the brand new jungle themed area with a Vekoma launched coaster, a river rapids, and a zamperla disco, all of which were very heavily unthemed when I last showed you it. But now the area is pretty much complete. And it is very themed. From loads of little rivers and ponds to loads of foliage and even a massive Aztec looking temple towards the back. There is so much to go through in this episode, so be sure to watch till the end. And subscribe if you aren't already and you want to see more of this series, because it is getting even more exciting as these episodes go on. And as with every single thing I built in this park, you'll be able to see and follow along with the time-lapse footage of me building them. As we're doing now, welcome back to episode 12 of Isle of Discovery. I'm genuinely so excited to be back. Why did I just flood the entire park? But genuinely, as I said, I'm so happy to be back. I know it's literally been 2 weeks, so I've just missed 1 week of an episode. Although we're on the next episode, so I haven't missed any episodes. But you know what I mean? We're supposed to upload this weekly, you see. And I missed 1 week purely because, if you don't know, I went to the Efteling. That was great. Absolutely loved getting on Dance Macabre, and I've learned from a lot of commenters on that video that I definitely didn't know the storyline of half the ride, and I definitely should have done my homework. But I apologise for that, Dutch viewers. Next time I know more, I guess. But because I was out at Efteling, and also I was just busy in general, I thought, you know what? We'll take a little bit more time on this area. I don't want to rush it. I don't want to get an episode out, considering I literally said in the previous one that this episode would be finishing this area off. Didn't want to rush it. I wanted to make sure that this area looked quite good alongside the other areas, because I put a lot of effort into the other ones. Didn't want to rush this one. So that's why this episode has taken a bit longer. But this episode will be longer as well, because there's a lot to time-lapse and a lot to look at in real time. Yes, we're going to be going on the ride, so POVing this coaster you can see, which now has a name, as does the area you can see right in front of you, and I'll get to that in a moment. We're going to be looking at the zamperla disco, riding the river rapids, explaining the whole premise of the area, and also explaining what's next. So stay tuned for that. Names-wise, though, you can see Amazonia is the name of this area. Decided on that name because, obviously, a lot of you guys actually suggested this one. It wasn't one person, and I really like that name. It's very simple, effective, and it sort of shows what I'm going for. An Amazon rainforest sort of vibe. Jungle. Yeah, but like I said, that name was suggested by loads of different people. You have Lily Allsop 588, Jordan's Clancy, The Stemmet, and Coaster Zinger. Those were the 4 that I did see saying about the name of this area being Amazonia. I've probably missed quite a few, so I really do apologise, but I do try my best to look through all of the different name suggestions, and later on you'll see the name for the coaster, the rapids, and that disco. Not a cred, by the way. And that's actually an interesting ride, because I've actually decided, you can see it in the background occasionally, and you saw it in the last episode when I was building it. That model in this game is some weird, like, rectangular shape where everyone faces inwards, rather than them all facing outwards in a circle, which is the usual zamperla disco sort of nature. You see Cobra at Chessington, whilst it's still there, I guess. And you see other zamperla discos. That's the common type of ride. It's not really what this game has, which is the rectangular one. So what I did with the attached scenery feature is made my own circular disc on top, so riders won't be able to see where they're going, because they'll probably be suffocating in pieces of this new circle. But from an off-ride perspective, and definitely not on an on-ride perspective, because you probably won't be able to see, but from afar it's going to look a lot nicer. So yeah, we'll get to that as well. Lots going on in this episode. So again, looking through your guys' suggestions, this coaster, not going through the name right now, because I did make a really cool entrance sign and I'm really happy with it. It's probably my favourite entrance sign in the park, with the way it sort of relates to the coaster and everything. But yeah, we'll show that later. The area itself, I saw a lot of you guys suggesting in the past about an Aztec themed area, and obviously I haven't gone and made an Aztec themed area, but what I've done is I've interlinked that sort of theme with some of the temple backing of the area. Of course, you see that massive green box behind the steampunk bit, and it's right up against the coaster in this land. I'm not just going to keep that as a green wall or just a brick wall or something. I'm going to theme that in. So my idea was to make an Aztec style temple. I did have the original idea of making an actual Aztec temple, the one that has like the staircases going up to it and it's quite square. That was going to be on the sort of like the back end of where the coaster is, the 2 helixes towards the start of the ride, but a lot more towards the end of the area, especially if you're entering in here. But decided instead to go for a different approach, and I'm going to just instead make an entire temple along the back wall of where the coaster is and have an indoor restaurant right underneath those 2 helixes, along with a little outdoor section just outside of it. So you're going to see all of that in the real-time footage, but I'm genuinely so happy with how this has turned out. And I had to say that again, because I love being happy with my work. As you can see, a nice little entrance cover going in here, so you've got the sort of main entrance sign, very much inspired by Katanga Canyon there at Alton Towers, but you've also got this nice little cover here just to sort of go over that bridge, and it's just a nice little like entry point between Viking and this Amazonia area. I love that name, by the way. Amazonia just suits what I'm trying to go for with this entire theme, and as much as it's not the most heavily themed and detailed area in the park, by far it's definitely not. It might even be the least detailed themed area, but I wanted to make it just look nice, if that makes sense. You don't go into a jungle expecting like these massive buildings with loads of details, unless it's a temple of course, but we've got one of them here. You don't really expect it to have what the steampunk area has and what the Viking area has. You just expect a lot of trees, a lot of foliage, and that's what I've tried to go for, with the incorporation of some buildings and a lot of rocks. There are so many rocks in this area, I can't believe it. Why can't I believe it? I built them. But there's loads of them, and also trees and stuff hanging over the track, like you can see right there. I really like how Drakkar, the kids coaster from the Viking area, doesn't look out of place there because there's so many trees and stuff, but it looks nice enough to stay there like that, if that makes sense. But this area is probably one of my favourites for the pathways, because as you saw in the previous episode, when it was all laid out just randomly and it looked very plain and boring, now all of those different pathways that lead off into different sections and stuff, they all fit in so much nicer than I could have ever imagined. You've got that little pathway there, even like it goes over like a little river that it's going to, and you can just go and see like one part of the coaster, and then there's another area nearer the rapid side where it just goes off on a little pathway down and goes under the coaster, and you'll see it all later. I don't know why I'm explaining it in so much detail when you're just going to see it eventually, but it is what it is. Also, one thing about the trees and stuff, you know if you've watched my Alton Towers new roller coaster build video that I did, the little kiddie coaster they're getting, I remade it in Planet Coaster because I'm an idiot. That video, I placed down a tree or a bush, and as soon as I placed it down, my game crashed. I've had that happen about 5 times in this area. I placed down a tree by accident, and it just completely closes all my menus, and then if I go to click on the tree again, boom, game dead. And I just sit there like, how is trees the thing that's crashing this game so much? I don't understand. Now, with all the updates and stuff, and especially with the road map coming and stuff, I find it fine. The game runs fine. There's a couple things, maybe lag here and there, or like there's a few things that just don't seem to work every so often, but we get around that. Why is my game crashing whenever trees are placed down? It doesn't make sense. It's so funny to me, but at the same time, why? It's very frustrating. But as you can see, I am copy-pasting from another area in the jungle area, Amazonia. If you don't know where that is, it's because I didn't time-lapse it. And purely because I wanted to make, not a thumbnail for the previous episode, but I wanted to sort of, create a bit of a mood board for what I wanted to do with this area. So I didn't want to film that because it was a very time-consuming process, and I was sort of just, putting down rocks and trees in a certain way and using certain trees, I just flooded the whole map again. I wanted to use specific trees and the palm trees and stuff, work out which ones were the best, and I got carried away with it. So that entire middle section, you haven't seen it too much, but that entire middle section is like, it's just a random circle and it's all complete there. And then the rest of the area around it is just nowhere near complete, not even been touched. It's quite funny. Zealot Pado, some signs going in. That said, welcome to Amazonia, so we're putting goodbye on the other side. You won't see it in this time lapse, obviously, as well, but I did go into Industria and a few other areas of the park and put some extra signage around to sort of direct you in different places and all that stuff. So we'll tour that eventually. As we will, the queue line for the Zamperla Disco, which does have a name now, and you will be seeing me build the circular disco structure in just a moment. But as you can see, we're going for a sort of snake vibe with this. So I thought I'd put a lot of pottery around here, a little bit different to a pure jungle vibe, but it does work quite well. So we've got some cover going in on the queue line as well. Again, nothing too major, just some nice buildings. I didn't want to go too extreme with any of the theme in this area. You might look at it later and go, how is that not extreme? There's so much stuff around, but it definitely, with how long the steampunk area took for how small it was, I don't think this is anywhere near to the detail of that, if that makes sense. But I still didn't want to rush this, and I have tried my best. So if you don't like it, tough luck. I don't know what else to say. But the coaster itself hasn't had many modifications since the previous episode. I know a lot of you guys want to see the POV for that, and we'll be doing that later, as said. But we're currently doing the queue line for this ride. And the only thing about this area that I absolutely hated, well, I didn't hate, but it was very frustrating again, was the fact that I wanted to make the coaster go up and over all these different pathways, the same as the rapids. I wanted to make the pathways go up and over that. The problem with that is there's so many places where you now have to put the sort of like loose belonging catch things, like the nets and stuff. So the amount of times you will walk under either roofs of buildings because they're purely there to stop loose belongings falling out of people's pockets and hitting people on the ground, or those canopy type things, or the nets, the amount of those is ridiculous in this area. So that's the only thing. There's a lot of high fencing as well, as you'll see later on, and lots of areas you can explore. I mean, there's going to be a playground in this area now. I decided on that quite recently. I thought, you know what, why not? Because we don't actually have a playground in the park yet. And my idea was originally to put one in the other area with the Mac-powered coaster and the carousel. But I thought I'd put one in here. So, yeah, that's quite cool. I'm actually going to be naming both of them in this episode as well. The two previous episode 10 that was, those coaster and ride. God, that was great English. We have a name for those two and the area as well. There's so much going on in this episode. I feel like I haven't made an episode in ages because I haven't, and I feel like I've skipped loads of stuff even though I haven't. But yeah, we're getting on with this Zamperla Disco now. Again, like I said, not all of this is going to be time-lapse of the entire area because genuinely a lot of it was just either me doing the same thing over and over again, like placing rocks, like you can see. I only really included this because it's on that flat ride. And a lot of it was just me, maybe for like 15 to 20 minutes building something, and then next minute I go, oh, I'm going to go do this, so I would have to stop the recording, and then I would come back to it for another 15 minutes. You know, it's just ridiculous at that point, so I just decided not to include it. But the Zamperla Disco, I did this all in one sitting. This was fun to make. The only thing about it is whenever you look directly at it in the game when it's moving, it lags out my computer like hell. So that won't be fun. Warning for anyone that downloads this in the future. But as you can see, I decided to make my own sort of seating arrangements, and it's obviously a very strange seat because you sit down and that backing comes up before you leave the station and start spinning round and stuff. And this bit here took ages, and I ended up building it out of little pieces. But at first I almost thought the horse head was going to work, but it didn't. So I had to change it. But Yeah, this is something I don't delve into very often, these flat rides and attaching scenery and stuff. So to sort of do this for the first time, again, you might think it looks stupid and awful. I try my best. I don't know what else to say. And it's not actually complete as I'm filming this, because I still need to work out how on earth I'm going to put a massive snake on one end of this, like Cobra has, and potentially something in the middle of this coaster. Oh no, I just called it a coaster. I said it's not a cred. I have been hypocritical. But that is one thing that I do need to ask when I do show you the park in real time, because like I've been saying multiple times, it's not fully finished, but it pretty much is, because there's only small things to go, and those small things I do need your guys' opinions on. You could argue that this is my Planet Coaster Park and I'm building it, but this is a joint effort, guys, because you guys have some amazing ideas, a lot better than I do, and your ideas help massively. So I just want to get a few of your guys' opinions on what you think would be best, whether you think this Zamperla disco looks crap, or whether you like it. But there you go, there's the rotational symmetry thing, mirroring it across, and that's your full circle. I don't know what else to say. Should we just go into real time quickly? And here we are then, back outside of Isle of Discovery. Since 2 weeks ago, Talos hasn't moved an inch, and the entrance is looking wonderful, if I do say so myself. If we come inside the park right here, there we go. Back to that lovely view of the lake and all of the different areas. But there's one area that you can't see right now that we've been working on this whole episode. Amazonia, of course, and to get there, you can either go through Stores Time, which we'll be doing later, or you can go through here, which was the area we worked on in episode 10. And we didn't actually have a name for this area and the coaster and carousel, and we now have that due to your guys' amazing suggestions. And look, there's like a nice trail coming off the coaster. Oh, how lovely. So the area itself is going to be called Ethereal Gardens. Now, I do remember saying something similar to this in my video, as if to explain that this will be an Ethereal Gardens type area, so I've just sort of taken that name. But that was suggested by Matt W70, so thank you very much for that suggestion. And now we're going to name the coaster and the carousel. Now, the carousel doesn't have an entrance sign yet, because the name of it wasn't really suggested by you guys, because I saw a lot of comments in general about this area on that 10th episode, about the fact that it looks pretty much identical to what Celestial Park is going to look like at Epic Universe. But actually this one's been built first, so I think they've copied me. But I thought it'd be funny to sort of use all those comments of you guys saying that, oh, you might as well call it Constellation Carousel, which is the name of the one at Epic Universe, and we're just going to call it Celestial Carousel, because the area at Epic Universe is called Celestial Park. I thought it'd be quite funny to call the carousel that. Have a bit of fun with that one, you know. It's not a major ride in the park. Unlike Euphoria over here. This is the entrance to the Mac-powered coaster, and this name was suggested by CoolGuy234-I30, and just a random guy. 2 people suggested that name, and I love that name so much. I think it just suits what this ride is supposed to be. It's just supposed to be this calm, relaxing, but also quite thrilling family coaster. None of that makes sense together, but the fact it's very golden and white and you've got the stars and everything on the train, yeah, I thought that was a great name, so thank you for those suggestions. We will be returning to finish that area off completely in this sort of section here in the next episode, so stay tuned for that, because I've got some exciting plans. But in the meantime, we have transported ourselves over to the Viking-themed area of Stores Time, and we're going to be heading into Amazonia right here. As you can see on the time-lapse, I built this nice little entrance cover sign where it's like it's just a mini entrance to the actual area, and then you've got that main rock work, very similar to Katanga Canyon, right in front of us, with a pond right in front of that. And the coaster does run around this entire area through the trees. You can see, like, under here it goes down through there, and then you can see it over here. There it goes, nice little waterfall. There's loads of viewpoints, so we're not going to see all of them in this episode, but I'll try my best, I promise. And already you can really start to see how many of these net belonging catchers we're going to have in this area, because my god, there's so many path crossovers on this coaster. But you've got like this little walkway here that just leads to a nice area where you can see the coaster, some triggered effects going off. That's a very staple thing in this area, especially with the rapids. These things shooting water out their mouths. Coming down here though, the coaster still rushing in the background. It genuinely just rushes about everywhere. And on the right and left, you have these nice plain areas that I'm going to be making into a playground, like I said in the time lapse. That will come in the next episode because I still need to finish off the disco because, as I said, I need your guys' ideas. And with that being said, the disco is right in front of us and it hasn't got an entrance sign yet. I know what I'm going to call it and I'm going to tell you right now. Mamba Strike, this is going to be called, and that is a name suggestion by Theme Park Master. I know Mamba Strike does exist at Chessington World of Adventures, but I can't lie, I thought it'd be funny to call this Mamba Strike, and also it suits what I'm trying to go for here because of all like the pottery and stuff, and also we're gonna have that ride. As you can see, I'm gonna start lagging so much because of how many pieces are on this one little dial. The theming that I want to do, I want to have a snake here and sort of put something in the middle there, and that's what I wanted to ask you guys about. What do you think I should do? So the snake, pretty confident that that'll work well. But in the middle of this, if it's called Mamba Strike, do I make a weapon? Do I make something tribal in the center? Do I do a tree? No, that might crash my game, actually. I'm not 100% sure at the moment, but we'll see that fully finished in the next episode because, well, it definitely isn't finished right now. I mean, there's some water down here that just is cube. Further down here, the rapids comes into play, and you can actually use this thing here to set off some water jets. You can see the water jets from these ones right here going, and there is a big splash that you just saw on the left as well, but the rapids does go past, so if I do that at the right time, it should soak it right there. Okay, we completely missed, whatever. But I thought that was a bit more exciting than just some water cannons, so I stuck that there. And then if we turn around, we've got a nice seating area. We can see the lift hill on the river rapids with some unfinished sections back there, which I need your help with again. And also what is probably my favourite entrance sign in the entire park for Jungle Rush. As you can see, that is the name of the coaster. And Jungle Rush was suggested by Hamburger. Yes, but the reason this is my favourite is because you can see the station building right up there, and I've done a bit of false perspective with that temple on the top, but I don't think it really works. You can see the sign that says Jungle Rush, and of course a photo opportunity that you can get in this Jeep and take a photo with it, and also the fact that there's some mud tracks to some fake track coming out of the ground. I don't know where I thought of this idea, but I'm so happy with it, and it is easily my favourite entrance sign I've made. But if we come up the long pathway behind Jungle Rush's entrance and turn around, we have Katanga. This is the rapids name, and you might be thinking, I wonder where you got that inspiration from. Well, this was suggested by Dynamations04, and they basically said, with all the Katanga Canyon talk about the inspiration for this area, why would I not call it Katanga? And I genuinely think that works so well as the name for the rapids ride. And again, you can just venture into the area like over this pathway here, which down here, something very exciting may be happening in a few episodes time. But yeah, as much as it is heavily unfinished on one side, let's take a ride on Katanga, because past the queue line I have something very interesting to show you that I worked quite a long time on, even though it's not the best, and that is a fake station for the rapids in this circular bit here. You know, most river rapids in the world, why are we stacking? It's slacking, man. Most river rapids in the world have this turntable station, and I thought it's pretty wrong not having this and just having a stop and start. But you can see the exit path does blend in pretty well, like it's not too out of place, and from a distance it looks really good. So if you do open this ride to guests, they won't appear like they're going into this station, but they'll get on it nonetheless, as we're going to do now. And here we go then, round the corner, and as you can see above, more bridges. Oh, we're going to start spinning, aren't we? Should I just do like an off-board perspective, because then we don't have to spin? What is this? If you want to see a proper POV, go to the second channel and subscribe to that, because I'll post one eventually. But yeah, as expected, we're going in and out of all the different like trees and the rocks and going under and over the coaster, and then we have a drop. Here we go. Way! Oh, that's the one bit that picks up speed, and the rest of it's quite slow. But I haven't really shown you this section here. You've got some nice buildings and like some things going over you, and you're going to have some water effects in here as well. But again, still more to add on this River Rapids ride. That's why I'm not giving you a full POV, just an orbiting one. because there's one side that's completely unfinished, and I need to show you that. Traversing this section here, a really nice section with loads of water fountains. This is that bit that I spoke about that I've finished way earlier than the rest of the area, and this goes right underneath the coaster as well. There's a nice waterfall coming up. And there's just loads of bridges and loads of things to look at, and I love this area, to be fair. Probably not my favourite one that I've made so far, but just for the sort of aesthetic of it and the fact you can just wander around and find different things that I even forgot I built, I think it is great. So yeah, I'm going to say it again. I'm really happy with this area. Go into an inside section, an inside cave now. Again, if you guys have any suggestions on what sort of theme you'd like me to go for in here, whether it be something maybe going wrong or... I don't know, there's magic happening. That doesn't even make sense. If you have any ideas towards that section of the ride, then please do let me know, because I don't really want to do multiple sections like this where it's just a normal cave. I want something to be happening, you know. And we traverse through this bit. There is quite a lot of clipping with the rocks, I can see that, but oh dear. And from the pathway, I forgot, if it goes up that lift hill, you can click this and you can play a nice little water jet thing over the top of that lift. I really like that, and I'm glad I added it. But once you get up to this point, you do end up just going back round to the station, and this is sort of where I wanted to talk about, because, well, this is going to back off onto a completely different area. And as much as we still have the coaster to ride and the temple to look around, I wanted to get your opinions on what theme you reckon would blend in quite nicely with that rapids, and sort of, you know, I could make a building here and sort of theme it into the next area or something, because I know I've got an area planned. Don't know what theme it could be, but I'm not sure that's the one I want backing onto this bit. So if you have any ideas on a theme to go on this section here, let me know. Because for now, as we exit off Katanga, we then go to the staircase opposite down here, and again, going underneath the coaster. What a surprise in this area. This is one of those bridges you can see everything from. This is probably one of my favourite views of the area. But if we come along here, you can see the temple in the background. You're starting to see views of it. You've got a nice little eatery again. You can actually see the launches of the ride quite well next to here, as you can see. Quite a nice view up to that overbank, and there you go, there it goes. And the ride does actually go into that temple, like said, so I'll be showing you that in just a moment. But yeah, here it comes. Nice launch, very quick paced. And yeah, there we go. I just wanted this ride to have so much interaction with the area, and you could see it going over and under. I think I've achieved that, so I'm happy. But one thing certain is I wanted an indoor space where you could sort of go into the temple really quickly on the ride and have a quick little bit indoors and then come straight back out again. And I thought that would be really, really cool to do. And I've done that. I had quite a few comments suggesting to also make a restaurant in this area, and I was thinking, oh, I'm a bit low on space. I'm not too sure where to do it. So I thought I'd combine the two. Use the temple that the ride goes into as one you can walk into and go and have something to eat. So as we enter under the temple ruins, you go in here, and there you go. It looks the roof looks a lot lighter than I remember. But as you can see, the coaster goes all around this section in two separate points. As you can see, it goes in that helix there, and then also this helix over there. Or it went. Oh, is this one going to go? When's this going to go? Now. Now. Oh, what timing? Yeah, there you go. Some nice little seats. And then this is where you would get your food from over here. But there's a waterfall in the background, and the coaster surrounds it fully. If you sit like right here, you're going to have that view right in front of you, the coaster coming around. Yeah, I absolutely love how this turned out. Very happy with it. And that's ending the time lapse. If you want something to eat outside because it's nice weather today, then there you go. You can just walk straight outside. I think that's a success. And what else would be a success is me actually going on the bloody thing. And here we go, out of the station, a smoke effect already. And we go straight into that first launch. Not too fast of a launch. Into some twists and airtime hills. First little bit in that building. See, when you're rushing past, it does go quite dark and it looks really nice. Then we go into that second launch. These coasters don't really have that long of a section after the first launch for some reason. I think the one at Dollywood literally goes into like one airtime hill and that's it. Oh, we've got some lag spikes. Some little S-curves into that temple again. There's just so much happening on this ride that It's hard to keep up, really. All the temple background there. I like this bit. I love how it just sort of S-curves towards the ground and then goes into that little helix. Like so. It's very smooth as well, which I know that's down to me smoothing it, but at the same time it's more down to the fact that the Vekoma family coasters are very smooth, so I'm proud of how that came out as well. Nice little like wave turn-esque thing there. On-ride photo camera, forgot about that. And then round here it might get a bit laggy because of the disco. Through the smoke. Up into 2 final little airtime hills and into the brake run. And that is pretty much the whole area of Amazonia. So we've literally just got the disco to finish off, which I'll be doing in the next episode, and those 2 little playgrounds, which will take not long. And then of course, when it comes to this new area behind, I'll be building some more little trees and foliage and maybe some buildings along that side and finishing the queue line for the rapids. But that'll literally happen when I build this area, because next up, what are we going to be doing in this series? As I said, I'm going to be expanding on the ethereal gardens section, and we're going to be sort of making it maybe more of a gardens area around this section here, and where this sort of, you know, rocky structure, yeah, nice, it's paint on the floor. Where that stops will probably be where the gardens bit goes up to. It'll be nice little walkways and stuff going through it. And behind this, I haven't actually said this yet because, well, it was supposed to be a surprise. You may have spotted the question marks on this sign here, pointing in the direction of that area. And what that is going to be is not a ride, not a roller coaster, not a new area, but instead the park's very own grand hotel. Yes, I'm going to be building a hotel in that area back here in all of its glory. Probably like a curved structure maybe, although I don't want to make it too tall because then you can see it easily from here. So again, it's going to be that thing of sight lines and viewing from different areas, seeing if you can see it from, I don't know, the Viking bit, and if it ruins the immersion or not. But I'm sure we'll get past that. And yeah, so it's going to be a hotel here, going to have some back of house areas and a car park and stuff as well. And it's going to be an exciting few episodes coming up, because obviously the hotels don't actually exist in the game yet, so I will just be building a facade for that. It won't be the inside, because also the piece count will be ridiculous if I build the inside. We'll be building this bit, of course, and also after that, I think it's time to start the water park. Obviously, with how big that plot of land is for the water park, I'm not going to build it all at once because that will literally take me so long. But we're going to be sort of chopping and changing between the water park and an actual area, because I know a lot of you guys just don't want to see purely water park stuff. You want to see some more areas and coasters, which my ideas that I have will be revealed in future episodes, so you better keep watching this series because there is so much more to come. Leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more of Isle of Discovery. We'll be back next week, I promise, with more episodes. Goodbye!